Ladies and gentlemen, Zuffa boxing, in my opinion, has struck again, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the first person that I want to talk about that has officially been signed to Zuffa boxing, y'all might not be as excited for the first one. The second one, a fighter that I do believe will be signing to Zuffa boxing. The second he has an opportunity to. Depends on how many fights are left on his contract. But we got to start off with the run for bull, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Fisher, 14-1, recently suffered his first defeat in his career in May of 2025 against Dave Allen, an automatic rematch. 5 months before that, Johnny Fisher got the decision victory, but a lot of people thought Dave Allen won that fight. Dave Allen stood up there with shock. They have that fight 5 months later, and Dave Allen knocks him out in the end of round 5. Johnny Fisher just came back in, what was it, December 6th, against Ivan Balaz, a fighter who stepped in on 2-day notice. Johnny Fisher had to fight this guy on 2-day notice, literally. Got dropped in the first round. A very unknown dude. Very, very unknown. Very not high level at all. Got dropped. Got rocked in the first round. They didn't score it or knockdown. But my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, was Johnny Fisher rocked. Then, the man ends up knocking Ivan Balaz out. And look good doing it, ladies and gentlemen. He did it in great fashion. Johnny Fisher was able to recuperate after the first round, standing at 6'4", 27 years old right now. 12 knockouts on his record. Look it, man. You look at his Dave Allen fights, and I know there's a lot of people out there that aren't excited about Johnny Fisher at all. I mean, you see the fights, the close fights that he had with Dave Allen, right? Arguably lost both of them. Arguably, I mean, hey. Depending on what you think. Dave Allen has ultimately let the boxing world know that he isn't high level at all as well. Dave Allen, who's fighting in underground boxing events right now, trying to get his career back together after getting absolutely dominated by Filip Hrgović. So I see everybody's reactions around the boxing world, and it's all just crapping on Johnny Fisher, crapping on Zuffa boxing. And you know what? When you're talking about grabbing the best fighters, the best heavyweight fighters in the world, maybe Johnny Fisher isn't necessarily in that realm. But one thing that I do know is that the run for bull always comes to fight. One thing that I do know is the heavyweight division in Zuffa boxing isn't the most exciting. I would say Efe Jabba is probably the best heavyweight champion that they got. But just like the majority of pro box undercards, a lot of these fighters that we're watching, realistically, aren't going to become champions. No, they're not. A lot of these guys that they put on these undercards of the zone, a lot of these guys, some of them, they ain't going to be champions. The same goes for Zuffa boxing, bro. They're trying to grab talent around the world. And we look at the heavyweight division and probably say, no, those guys probably have the potential of becoming the heavyweight champion of the world. But one thing that I will say is what makes Pro Box TV undercards, what makes some of the DAZN undercards, what makes these cards exciting, even though some of these fighters are never going to become world champions. If two fighters step into the ring and give it everything that they got and put on exciting fights, just like we've seen with Zuffa boxing, nothing but incredible fights. Not very known fighters, not very super high level fighters. When you talk about more in the undercard rounds, especially in the heavyweight division. But they always come out and they always put on shows. They always put on exciting fights. It's the same way on Pro Box TV, bro. They put on exciting fights. And Johnny Fisher is one of those guys that I know for a fact, me, as a boxing fan, a man who's fighting for his career, getting the most money that he's ever won. He wants to continue that, right? He wants to continue working with Zuffa and get that back. Well, you've got to continue to win. And not only do you have to win, but you've got to put on exciting shows. And Johnny Fisher, I'll tell you one thing, bro. This man always comes to fight. Wobbled, knocked out, whatever, ladies and gentlemen. But Johnny Fisher lets his hands go. He's a man. He beat Ivan Velaz, finished him. The dude got knocked down for the third time in the same round, and the referee said, that's it, that's it. Johnny Fisher said he's alive again. He's fighting for his career. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited to see Johnny Fisher try to bring back his career back alive in what isn't the most stacked heavyweight division in the world throughout boxing, ladies and gentlemen. So that being said, I like Johnny Fisher. Good opportunity for him. He may not be the highest level. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen FX Jabba go in his first fight in Zuffa boxing against Charles Martin. What is he, like the shortest reigning heavyweight champion of all time? I mean, my goodness, bro. But Johnny Fisher has signed over to Zuffa boxing. We'll see how this all ends up playing out. I'm sure they'll be able to make some exciting fights with him in the UK. Now, Ryan Garcia, ladies and gentlemen. Have y'all seen the video of Ryan Garcia reacting to Oscar De La Hoya turning down, just shooting down the Conor Ben fight, saying that nobody wants to see it? The fans of boxing, nobody wants to watch this fight. And then goes on to saying Turkey and these dudes think that they can come to America and have these fights on without involving me. He went on. Well, Ryan Garcia reacts to that. The man acts like he gets on a phone call with Oscar De La Hoya. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't actually call Oscar De La Hoya. But he's speaking his mind here, ladies and gentlemen.
First fight was with Barrios, and apparently the Saudis have chosen Conor Ben to be Ryan's next opponent. Nobody's asking for this fight. The fans are definitely not wanting this fight.
Yes, they are.
And if it were up to me, I would have picked Devin Haney for the rematch. That's a much bigger fight. But because Turkey owns Zuffa and wants to help them out, he picked Conor Ben. But whatever, that's fine. I mean, look, you can't just make fights without Golden Boy in the zone. I know Paramount wants the Ryan fight on their network because their regular Zuffa fights do a few thousand views. Oh, I can't imagine how disappointed Paramount is. You can't just do whatever you want here in America. There are laws and legally binding contracts.
I heard enough. Here, I'm calling him. I gotta call Oscar, man. Yo, what's up? Yeah, nah, I just seen your post. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. At the end of the day, the fight's happening, and you know, well, there's plans in places. You could write whatever you want on Instagram. At the end of the day, it's gonna happen. Me and Conor Ben is fighting September 12th, and that's it, Oscar. So, you know, make all the posts you want. You know, post on your story. But at the end of the day, this fight's happening.
And I say to myself, with the addition of how everything turned out this last Saturday at the UFC weigh-ins on Friday, you bring Conor McGregor, Conor McGregor and Max Holloway out. You got Ryan Garcia, you've got Conor Ben, you've got Shakur Stevenson standing behind them. They were out there for 4 or 5 of the weigh-ins fights, but they're standing behind them. Biggest opportunity, yeah, there's 150,000 people watching live. There's thousands of people there at the live weigh-in. No announcement. Ryan Garcia and Conor Ben, the dudes, I don't know if they were told to dress the same, possibly, but they even look the same. They were supposed to announce this fight, ladies and gentlemen, but nothing. Ryan Garcia, Shakur, Conor Ben basically go for nothing. I mean, they still get the exposure, but there was supposed to be an announcement. Then we go Saturday. Saturday comes, and nothing still. The whole weekend passed, and nothing, which means, and we heard the official news that there's still ongoing issues within Ryan Garcia's team, their side, on not wanting to sign this fight. Of course, Oscar De La Hoya doesn't want this fight to be on Paramount Plus. They want it on the Zone. They're making this big old argument about it. And I say to myself, bro, the second that Ryan Garcia has the opportunity to leave Golden Boy Promotions, I don't know how many fights is left on his contract due to him becoming champion. Y'all know that even if he was on his last fight of his contract, because he became champion, they got that championship clause in there for the promoters, to where now he probably has like 2 or 3 fights with Golden Boy Promotions and Oscar De La Hoya. Who knows, ladies and gentlemen? We're all gonna have to see how this ends up turning out. But I know one thing for sure. The second that Ryan Garcia is done with Golden Boy, I really don't see him re-signing with Oscar, especially with all the past beef. For reals, y'all. I mean, the second that he gets the opportunity to leave, y'all see the relationship that he was building with Dana White and these guys. He's signing over to Zuffa Boxing, bro. Ryan Garcia, for a fact, eventually in his career, at least one time, I don't know for how many fights, he will be signing to Zuffa Boxing. Let me know what you guys think, bro. It's breaking news. What's going down right now in the boxing world?